So, Chris Bumstead versus Quint Beastwood, huh? This is what you guys want to see. Fan request, of course. Even though this match will never happen. You guys know that, right? Chris Bumstead, men's classic physique division champion, Olympia champion, and Quint Beastwood, an open class bodybuilder. What's the point of comparing these two? Well, Quint Beastwood is a very aesthetic bodybuilder. So it does make a somewhat interesting comparison. But it is just too much size that Quint Beastwood is going to have on Chris Bumstead. From the arms to the lats, the chest, great big man's chest, to the wheels. Look at the size of the wheels. Now, Chris Bumstead, I always mention this. Well, not always, but sometimes. He's a mecha neck. You guys remember Mecha Neck from He-Man? He has a big long neck and a big long head. So, what does that do? Well, he can be heavier for his division. So, a guy with a higher shoulders, you know what I'm saying? You guys don't have any idea what I'm talking about, do you? Front double bicep pose, a little hard to explain that. But Chris Bumstead, I would say you're almost guaranteed he would have an edge in conditioning, I would suggest. But is that going to be enough to beat Quint Beastwood in this shot? Now, when you go to the front lat spread, see, this is what I mean. Beastwood, he's a huge big dude. He's a much bigger dude than Chris Bumstead. But they're probably close to the same height. Know what I'm saying? So they would have to be the same weight. And that would be very difficult for Quint Beastwood to compete in men's classic. The same weight as Bumstead. Even though Bumstead's frame's smaller, so he looks... He's able to look big. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Am I just boring you guys? He's a mecha neck. Mecha necks are good in classic physique. What they should do is measure them at the top of their delts. Their delts. Then Chris Bumstead would be in trouble. Now, the actual pose, Bumstead, he looks a lot better, I would suggest. Even though he's smaller. But look at that detail. Man, oh man. Chris Bumstead's legs, quarter size. Just a mere quarter of the size of Big Quint Beastwood. Each thigh is a tuna. Turn to the side here. Yeah, Bumstead's wheels, they don't look as small, I don't think, from the side. He's got a good hamstring, glutes, things of that nature. The length of them, obviously, the length of Quint Beastwood's wheels, just tremendous length. So that would be more weight that he would have to be. He would have to be a lot heavier than Chris Bumstead to look good. So he would never make classic physique, guys. So get that out of your mind right now. Why am I scalding you guys on that right now? Anyway, I kind of like Bumstead's posture here. I like how clean, neat the shot is. Very executed very well. And what can I say? The other Canadian, Quint Beastwood, Quentin Uriah, he's big. He's big. Hey, this is from 2020. 2020. So it's spelt, right? He's not as good, I don't think. I used to boast about Bumstead being much better in 2020. The side of the leg looks a little bit smooth, monsoon. Little too smooth, monsoon. Little too smooth, monsoon. Yeah. So using this version, which is highly irregular, you'd go with Quint Beastwood. So I guess the only way that this matchup could happen is if Bumstead went up to the open. But I don't think he ever will. You want to know why? Because when these guys turn around, Chris Bumstead is something special. He is good. He is the Olympia champion in the division that he competes in. But when it comes to men's open, I really don't think he's all that special for that division. But having said that, I'd like to see some of them open guys make the weight cap and still look good. Bumstead can do that, and that's why he is the champion of that division. But put him up against some of these, even Quint Beastwood, his back's not the best at all. But I mean, his condition, he looks drier. He looks bigger from behind, the lower half. Bumstead's back's a nice, pretty taper. It's almost perfect. And Quint needs a little more width, I'll definitely admit. Good thick lat insertions. You know, it's a decent back. It's actually, what do they say, comparable? Comparable? Is that a good word? Hear the other YouTube channels suggest that word all the time. It's comparable. So, yeah. Yeah, here's the rear double. See? And yeah, I think Bum might be a little bit better in this shot. The lat insertions look a little bit thicker. Of course, Quint Beastwood, he's a monster in that lower half. And conditioned as well. But I don't know, man. I like Bumstead's back. The back itself, I think, is better. Look how small the lower half of Bumstead is. Great big mecha neck. So he can have the weight limits of a 6 foot plus guy, but he's only structured like a 5'10", 5'9" type guy. And poor Quint Beastwood. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if you're in the open class. You know, doesn't really matter. So yes, abs and thigh, both of these two dudes resemble the remark of aesthetic. Aesthetically pleasing, aesthetic. Nice frames. Very good, pleasing physiques. Doesn't look like they're too muscular. Doesn't look like they're over-dieted, under-dieted. Things of that nature. So Quint Beastwood may take the win on this because his abs look a little bit better. They look like them, you know, your commercial abs. Whereas Bumstead looks very dry, which is good for a bodybuilding competition. And that about does it for that one, guys. We will not be announcing a winner? Question mark? Can you really pick a winner in this? Bumstead, obviously more peeled. At what level? And Quint Beastwood, obviously a lot larger. But at what level? And you pick from there. Both guys quite aesthetically pleasing, so you can't play the, oh, he looks better card. You just can't do it. You can't win in this comparison. So if all else fails, you go with the champion. You go with Chris Bumstead. Is Bumstead really winning this one? I prefer Quint Beastwood. Is that ducking the truth? The truth would be Bumstead would be more conditioned. But man, oh man, oh man, I seen more conditioned guys not win because they're too small. When I look at these calves, geez, those calves, massive, massive. So I guess it is a remains of some debate. So Mark's Max Muscle's final word, Bumstead. He's your king of Canada. Whoa, Canada. Have a great one, guys.